Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Gen X Lounge, where we discuss the pop culture of today and look back at the pop culture of yesterday. And mostly just shoot the shit. Today, we're going to do a lot of shit shooting about Marvel Comic-Con news and Deadpool and Wolverine. And we're going to try to keep it non-spoilery for at least the 5 minutes when we get into that discussion. And we have a full house tonight. We have, after missing last week, the mighty Bolo has returned. We also have Dutch. And as always, the mighty Quinn is here.
You'll not see nothing like the mighty Quinn.
Hello.
How's it going, fellas?
Good.
What's up?
How's
What's
everyone?
up?
So there's a mighty Bolo and a mighty Quinn now.
Yes,
Everybody's mighty,
We're
but
the
that
mighty-
sounds about right.
we're the mighty Gen X Lounge. That's our team name. Much like the Fantastic Four, we're the mighty Gen X Lounge. Hi, how's everybody doing? Everybody good? We just recorded was it a week last week, right? 1 week
Yes.
ago. Yeah, but we decided that in the interests of poor memories amongst some of us, that we should probably record shortly after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine and not a week and a half after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. So here we are. And that's probably going to be the gist of the show. There's some other stuff. There's some news. There's some RIPs. There's a huge RIP that we forgot last episode, which as soon as we finished the episode, I was like, what the fuck? And then I
The
saw
most Gen X of all the RIPs.
Yeah, of all the Gen X RIPs we discussed last week, this would have been the most Gen X of them all. So I mean, I guess let's just jump into the news. So the first bit of news, which I'm like super, I haven't been able to shut up about since Friday night, was the opening of the Olympics was Friday, and my favorite band, Gojira, not what you would consider a well-known band in the mainstream, but they are French, and the Olympics are taking place in France, and they were asked to be part of the opening ceremonies, and I think a lot of bands would have said, let's do something a little more mellow than we're used to, and maybe try to do something a little more appealing since it's going to be broadcast to billions of people the world over. And they just came out and said, fuck this, here we go. And they were not fucking around. They started their set with a beheaded Marie Antoinette. They immediately dropped into a ridiculously heavy breakdown, followed by another ridiculously heavy breakdown. He did not clean up his vocals. He was screaming, which was awesome. They had blood cannons. They had an opera singer go by on a boat. It was fucking awesome. It was probably the most talked about thing of the opening ceremonies, more so than Lady Gaga and Celine Dion that I've seen so far.
And for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, most people thought it was cool. The wrong reasons would be the people that don't understand that was not the Last Supper.
Right.
But, you know, but yeah, their Spotify listeners since Friday have increased by close to 400,000 now, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, in the Gojira subreddit, I think there's been like 1,500 new members since Friday. Lots of people in the subreddit asking what album they should listen to first and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, pretty awesome. That's a huge deal too, because you know you're used to seeing like Lady Gaga and Celine Dion at the Olympics, but there's never been a band like this. Given that sort of like front row attention. I mean, even a band like Metallica hasn't done an Olympic ceremonies. You know what I mean? It's a pretty damn big deal. So
yeah, I was introduced to Gojira via a client of mine who said, "Hey, why don't we try to listen to this for working out music?"
It's good working out music.
Yeah, it is. I freaking loved it. So like to hear that, them performing at a huge ceremonious type event such as the Olympics and killing it.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
Yeah, and good dudes too. Very like environmentally conscious and just all around good guys. So good shit. So yeah, that was cool. Then we do have some RIPs. Sadly, RIP. I just saw this one. This I think is like literally breaking news. Francine Pascal, who was the creator of the Sweet Valley High book series, which many girls our age read when I was a kid. I remember. I think Brandy has like almost the entire like set of hers from when she was a teenager. So she died. And then of course the one we missed last week, like dumbasses.
Hey, speak for yourself.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Good one.
Is of course Shannon Doherty died on July 13th at age 53. She was in Heathers. Like that's like a quintessential Gen X movie.
Yeah.
She was Brenda on 90210.
She was in Mallrats.
She was in Mallrats. Yep. Started as Jenny Wilder on Little House on the Prairie in 1982 and 83. I did not know this. She was the voice of Teresa Brisby, who was the oldest of the mouse children in The Secret of Nim. I didn't know that. Like all good Gen X actors or actresses, she appeared in an episode of Magnum P.I. and an episode of Airwolf. So go.
Airwolf.
She was Heather Duke in Heathers. She was Brenda, like I said, in 90210. Renee Mosier in Mallrats, and Prue Halliwell in Charmed, which was a show that was after my caring about such things. But that was a popular show in the 90s, and I think it ran to 2001, maybe. So
yeah.
With Alyssa Milano and Eliza Dushku, maybe was on that show.
Holly Marie Combs was the other one.
Okay. But yeah, man. I did love 90210 when I was in high school, and even in college. I remember we used to watch it on Thursday nights. And I actually liked her. Of all the girls on 90210, I think she was the one that I definitely had the biggest crush on. A lot of people liked Kelly, but I was more of a Brenda guy. So R.I.P. to her.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. I saw the Facts of Life revival, guys. You're gonna be sad, but it's dead in the water, apparently because of greediness.
Yeah. Who do you think it was?
Tootie, baby. Yeah. No, it wasn't Tootie. Why are you throwing? Don't throw Tootie under the bus, Chris Jones.
I don't know. I think my money would have been on Tootie as well.
No, I think it was Blair. I think the popular bet is Blair.
It's possible.
This is where I say I had no idea that was even in the works.
I didn't know either. I just thought it was funny that there's apparently drama between the Fact of Life girls. But Mindy Cohn was the one who said that it was due to greediness from one specific person. And Mindy Cohn played the character that wasn't Tootie, Joe, or Blair.
Natalie.
That was her name. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Blair has that show on MeTV where she goes to visit like losers with giant collections of like weird shit, like Godzilla toys or Star Trek dolls. Every time we see that commercial, Brandy's like, "You really should, like send an email to try to."
You should
get on that show. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I should, because like honestly, really more just because I want to meet Blair.
I was going to say, if Blair's coming to your house, I'm going to be your roommate.
You gotta
for
come.
that week.
Yeah, you gotta come for that. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. When they did that revival, I mean, I hadn't seen her since I was a kid. I was stunned that she looked almost exactly the same.
She does look. Yeah, she looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're older than us, right? She's got to be. I mean, they were definitely older than I was in elementary school when that show was on, I think. So we would have, they're probably a solid 6 or 7 years older than us.
Yeah, you would think.
But yeah, I mean, actually, all of them still look pretty good. So yeah, I read this in Variety, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Skibbity Toilet, the massively popular YouTube series featuring singing heads popping out of toilet bowls, is being developed into a TV and film franchise by Transformers director Michael Bay.
What?
Yay.
Yeah.
What in the world?
What the hell is that?
I don't know. Look, man, it's about singing heads popping out of toilet bowls.
You need like a news writer who can just totally like skip past the bullshit.
I don't know. Like that same news in like a deadpan Walter Cronkite voice would be hilarious.
Yeah,
That is true.
that
Just
is.
get
Yeah.
someone to just read
I
it.
should get a voice effect. For that.
These heads coming out of toilets. Oh, that's Ted Koppel. God damn it.
Skibbity Toilet, the popular YouTube series. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm sure one of my nephews or possibly my daughter might know what it is. But how that would be a film franchise, I don't know. I got an email from Cinemark yesterday, the movie theater chain.
Yeah.
And it just said Cinemark goes back to 1984. So from the 12th through the 19th of August, starting on the 12th, and then one movie per night till the 19th. The 12th is The Karate Kid. The 13th is The Terminator. The 14th is Gremlins. 15th is Purple Rain. 16th is Ghostbusters. 17th is The Last Starfighter. The 18th is Nightmare on Elm Street. The 19th is Footloose, and then I think it's a Saturday. Is the final night. They do Temple of Doom.
Jesus.
I might go see Purple Rain in the theater. I think that might be cool.
That is so targeted at us. It makes me think like we're in the Truman Show. You know what I mean?
Right?
I know.
Yeah,
like,
Terminator is definitely my jam.
Yeah, Terminator would be the top for me to see.
I would see.
Yeah, I mean, all of them would be
Purple
cool.
Rain.
I would see any one of those in the theater. Any one of them. Last
all-
Starfighter, I would kill to see in the theater again.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen The Last Starfighter from beginning to end probably since like the early 90s.
Really? Really? I love
don't
that.
think so. Yeah. Same thing. I mean, Purple Rain, I haven't seen in a long time. I would like to see Purple Rain in the theater just because of all of those ones. I think that's might be the one I've seen the least, other than probably The Last Starfighter. But I don't
I
think
would see
Brandon's
it too.
ever
It'd
seen
be
Purple
great.
Rain.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's all just weeknights. If you want to go on, we should just. I mean, I'd go to a couple of them honestly. Probably.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. And then the big thing obviously is the Comic-Con was just this past weekend, and there's all kinds of news. They had some Fantastic Four stuff. There was a Fantastic Four teaser trailer type of thing that was shown, and parts of it were leaked. I saw some screenshots of it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I
looks
saw
like
the complete. Somebody leaked the complete one.
Did you see the whole
Yeah.
thing? And it looks like it's set in like a 60s, but not our 60s necessarily.
Retro futuristic. They're going with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
I mean,
like
it's
the
a cool
Jetsons.
aesthetic.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's almost like it's got like a Jetsons aesthetic. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
That's
the
what I
60s.
thought. That's
It's
the
like
vibe that I got off of it.
Yeah. A 60s version of the future, like the Jetsons.
Yeah, it reminded me of how they did the Fallout setting, where it's the 50s, but it's the 50s obviously set in a different
Right.
50s than we had. It's more like a slightly like a different technology type of 50s. So and Harrison Ford was there. I mean, they brought out all the stars. Harrison Ford was there answering
Mhm.
questions. Like he pretended to Hulk out. He seemed pretty chipper for Harrison Ford.
And
Yeah.
if you didn't see Deadpool Thursday night, then you saw what Friday. Oh shit!
Oh, duh.
I'm like about to just take the piss about them giving a spoiler away, and I forgot we're not spoiling it for you.
I'm bleeping that. I'm gonna put in a humorous bleep.
Freaking Dutch, man.
All right, we'll come back to
Breaking
that
rules.
Did
We'll
you
come
see?
back to that one.
Did you see during the Q&A with Harrison Ford, and somebody asked him between who's better at dealing with snakes between Thunderbolt or Ross and Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford said, I've always treated these questions with both the utmost respect and complete disdain. I will not answer that stupid question, but thank you for the opportunity.
I get the feeling like people ask him questions like that now because they know he's gonna
Oh,
just respond like
yeah.
he doesn't give two Fs.
Yeah. Somebody else showed him the Wolverine popcorn, the Wolverine popcorn holder, and he didn't quite know what to make of it. It was pretty funny.
I did see a clip from him, and it was almost like it was more of a red carpet interview than a Comic-Con interview. But they asked him if he saw himself rendered as the Red Hulk and what he thought of like the finished version, and he said he didn't know he was going to be red. And he said, "Red's not my color." And they're like, "What color would you did you want to be?" And he looks at them like they're an idiot, and he's like, "Green." So,
Oh my god!
there's no way during filming they didn't refer to him as Red Hulk.
As Red
You know
Hulk.
what I mean?
Yeah, it probably says it in the script. It's funny. He seemed more engaged at this than he did at any of the Star Wars stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Like he seems to have much less disdain in his heart for this stuff than he does the Star Wars stuff. But that's probably because he doesn't have, like 40 years of dealing with Star Wars nerds. So now he's dealing with, a different type of nerd. Maybe
he probably appreciates having something new for that.
Yeah, there you
audience.
go. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to say this before we do the big Comic-Con reveal. Did you see they're doing a movie of The Long Walk, that Stephen King novella?
Oh, I never read that.
Oh, really? It's so good.
Yeah.
They're doing it's from the Bachman books. It's one of the 4 stories in the Bachman book.
That was actually what I was going to ask if he would, because most of his novellas were all under Richard Bachman, right?
Yeah. It's so far I saw that they have Judy Greer on board and Mark Hamill. But The Long Walk, the basic premise is there's like a annual contest. And I think, I mean, I haven't read it since I was in my early 20s, but I think it's mandatory or you're selected in some way to participate in it, and you have to walk. And it's like some ridiculous distance over the course of a certain amount of days, and you have to keep a pace of 4 miles an hour. And if you fall below 4 miles an hour, you have like something starts beeping, and if it beeps like 3 times, the soldiers that are escorting you along the side of the road in like jeeps will shoot you dead. And that's like the premise of the contest is it's basically to survive this walk.
So it's like if the Hunger Games met Speed.
Yes, but walking.
But walking.
But
Pop
walking,
quiz, hot shot.
yeah. And you don't think 4 miles an hour is fast.
Yeah, it is.
Until
But,
you start walking 4 miles an hour.
Or just just pop in your car and drive 4 miles an hour for, like a minute, and you'll be like, this is actually, it's not fast for a car, but I would not want to walk at this pace,
And try to walk 4 miles in an hour. See how far you get.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a pretty rough pace.
I'm a trainer and I can't do that.
No.
You would not like to be participating in the long walk then, Bolo.
No, I would not. I would be dead inside of 20 minutes.
It'd be a short walk.
It would be it would be the minute walk.
Yeah, I couldn't do that without running, I don't think.
Yeah, it's almost like a brisk it's like a power walk. Like you see those people in the mall, those crazy old people.
Yeah.
Like Speedy Steve. We used to have a guy when I worked in the mall. We would see him every morning, and I don't know what his name was, but we called him Speedy Steve because he walked like a fucking lunatic every morning before the mall opened for like an hour and a half, and I would be opening my store.
They always have that hip twist thing that they're doing.
This dude was like, he was not playing. Speedy Steve.
Yeah.
The big thing. So me and Quinn were hanging out with our ladies the other night, just shooting the shit, telling old York College stories. And Bolo sends Quinn a text that says, Robert Downey Jr. is the new Doctor Doom. And Quinn said, Bolo just sent me a text that says Robert Downey Jr. is the new Doctor Doom. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with him? And you were like, yeah, I just wrote back. You were like, yeah, I just wrote back, sure, Chris Jones.
Yeah, I wrote back like, we'll see, or something like that.
And then that was and that was it. You hung out for another hour or two. And then after you left, maybe an hour after you left, I jumped on my phone. And like literally that's all that was all over my phone, like all over Reddit, all over Facebook was that. And it was like photos of it, him holding the mask, a video of him coming out. I was like, holy fucking shit. First off, Chris Jones was right. But second off, what the fuck is going on? So the announcement was that the Russo brothers are back to direct 2 Avengers movies. The first is called Avengers Doomsday. And the second is
Kang died on the way home to his planet.
Yeah. Yeah, Kang is no more.
They're gonna Poochie Kang.
Yeah, Poochie Kang, and and they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. So I will open it to the panel. What does everyone think of this?
My thoughts are wait and see, hold judgment until we see clips of him acting. Because we don't know what Doctor Doom is going to sound like, move like. Is he going to have the whole Latveria thing? Is that going to be a buildup?
I sure as hell hope.
Yeah. Is he going to be sprinkled throughout the universe going forward as we had Thanos in the previous phases? Is that a thing? You know what I mean? That's what I'm holding my final say so for.
What is going on?
I'm there with you. Hang on.
What is happening?
We got 2 Quins.
What is happening, Quinn? Why are you on the screen?
Because I do this on my phone. Hang on. Because I do this on my phone, if I try to access any other screen on my phone, it logs out completely. Yeah. So, which I just said in the chat does not bode well for the synopsis.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
But I can't read.
I'm excited about the casting.
Yeah.
Because Robert Downey Jr. is a fantastic actor. Does he have the chops to pull off a Doom? That's the major concern.
Well, I think he could definitely pull it off. I think the question is why, though, because there's lots of other people who could pull it off that weren't Iron Man.
Mads Mikkelsen, anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem for me is if he's playing anything other than an alternate version of Tony Stark, which I hate for different reasons, but if he's playing anything other than that, it's just a colossal just screw up. This, you know what I mean? Like that. Cast somebody who honors the character, not somebody who's. I love Robert Downey Jr. We all do, but this character has not been done right yet. Does not have his origin story yet. You know what I mean? And you could argue, I think, pretty easily, he's a top 5 Marvel character.
I think he's the Marvel villain. He is the greatest Marvel villain. You can objectively make that argument.
Yes, I would agree.
I'm a little hot about it because, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I would be on that side of that argument. I think he's the best one. So you want somebody different. You don't want. It seems like they're phoning it in. Like, hey, we're desperate. You guys know we're all desperate.
Yeah.
We just made a movie that makes fun of us for being desperate. Let's show you how desperate we are. Let's throw money at the Russos and Robert Downey Jr. and see what we can do with that. I did see in the Ultimate Comics, I think Reed Richards is the ultimate bad guy. You know what I mean? Turns into a villain that then all the other heroes have to fight. And I read somewhere that might be the case with this one, where this is going to be a villain like an Iron Man that is the ultimate villain that all the other heroes have to go fight. Just an alternate version of Iron Man. And I like that better than I do it being him being actual Victor Von Doom. So I don't know. I hate
Go
it.
ahead,
I
Dutch.
hate it.
Yeah, go ahead, Dutch.
I'm kind of like, I have like negative feelings about it, but I'm trying to keep them at bay because I'm like maybe there could be some kind of brilliance here that I'm not seeing. Doom's my favorite Marvel villain. He has been repeatedly mistreated. They have done him no less. He's appeared no less than 4 times on the big. Well, 3 if you're not counting the Roger Corman Fantastic Four, which actually was
Probably the
pretty.
most comic accurate Doctor
Yeah.
Doom.
I kind of liked Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Liked him a little bit better in that movie. We're not even going to talk about the 2015 movie. Like this guy has all of the sort of like pimpness to be like the next big baddie,
Yeah.
and they're getting 60-year-old Robert Downey Jr. to play supposedly Victor Von Doom. And anybody that like starts opening their mouth and being like, "Well, the infamous Iron Man," just nah, stop it. You didn't read that comic, obviously. But they're reversing it. No, just like we need to see that. We need to see Victor Von Doom like done well. And my concern here is that okay, how are they going to pull this off? Is he really just an alternate universe version that happens to be played by Robert Downey Jr.? I asked the question. Why then? What's at stake? Because if the Avengers don't recognize him, that would be like the only reason I could think of is like, okay, so if the Avengers have to fight him and he looks like their Iron Man, that puts a little bit of stakes in there. But again, what's the point of doing that? Because then Robert Downey Jr. is sort of like, as great of an actor as he is, this isn't like he can't pull the role off. It's like, I think he's in there for name value, or that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the reaction when they announced who it was.
Yeah.
Those people
lost their shit.
They'll cheer at everything. I mean,
I would also lose my shit if I was. I would lose my shit if I was in the audience as well because Robert Downey Jr. is there.
Yeah,
I'd lose my shit if he walked in the room. But doesn't mean I love the idea. You know, and I don't know. There's nobody that I know personally that likes the idea.
Well, here's the other thing. The other thing. Victor. Okay, so the MCU, and I made this joke before, and many other people have. It's by no means original. These characters never keep their damn masks on. Spider-Man takes his damn mask off probably more than he wears it in every movie he's in, and I'm like, dude, there's cameras everywhere, man. What the hell are you doing? So like, what? Robert Downey Jr. is recognizable. Doom doesn't take his mask off. His mask is quintessentially part of his character and his vanity. You know what I mean? So is this going to be like he's just going to be flipping his Doom mask up like he's Iron? Like I just don't know. Of course, we all know we're going to give it a chance. We're going to go there. We're going to see it. It may work in its own way, in its own kind of universal set of rules. But like, why are we doing this to Doctor Doom after like? Do they not feel that maybe are they like do they not have faith in the character after the adaptations that have happened every 10 years since 2005 that people just won't come in for this?
Well, you might have touched on it. They might not have faith that a masked character could turn, you know what I mean, could work for that long as the big bad. So they need to have an actor in there and they need to show his face. So I would be disappointed in that.
I was gonna say, I guess they've never heard of Darth Vader.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Who has a little bit of inspiration of Doctor Doom.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like the idea of a dark magic wielding Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like an evil version of it.
That could be cool as a concept, but like that's a separate thing.
Yeah,
agreed.
And we're still getting away from Doctor Doom. The focus, if he's going to be Doom, be Doom. Don't be an Iron Man.
Don't be Iron Man in a Doctor Doom suit.
Yeah, don't do that. You know what I mean? I get, there's he has dark magic. I don't want repulsors. I want magic from this character.
Well,
he's a sorcerer in some respects.
He still has repulsors though.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I would hate this to be the first version of Doctor Doom that we see. You know, it would have been a cool twist. if down the road we didn't know this, we hadn't established Doom with a different actor that we knew his name.
So it's
And then-
essentially like what they did with the Mandarin.
I don't want that to happen either. That's my other concern.
No, I definitely don't want that.
Don't take this Doom and give me another gag of the Mandarin with Trevor Flattery or whatever his name was. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, I actually loved that.
That was
At the
fantastic.
time. I know a lot of people were pissed, but I thought it was genius.
That was fantastic.
It was better. It was he was better when you saw him a little bit more in Shang-Chi. Like that,
Yeah.
I was so pissed in Iron Man 3. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
For some reason, when you said the Mandarin in my head, I'm like, Mandalorian. What twist was in that? But you meant the Iron Man 3
He
Mandarin.
wears a mask. So did it? I think I'm the only one of us four who watched that.
Well, the
show-
twist
that
with the
show,
Mandalorian
Sympathizer,
is
right?
that Pedro Pascal is in both of them now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
Did anybody other than me watch The Sympathizer on HBO?
I did not.
I did not either.
So
That's
Robert
one where
Downey
Downey played a bunch of characters,
He
right?
plays 4 people in that show, and the first character he plays is the first character you're introduced to in the show that he plays, and I want to say it was a solid 5 or 10 minutes into the show before I realized it was Robert Downey. That's how good the makeup was, and that's how good the acting and stuff was. So if they're gonna make him up, and he is gonna play Victor Von Doom, he can pull it off as an actor because the 4 characters he plays on that show are all so different. And only, I mean, it's obviously, yes. Oh yeah, I'm looking at Robert Downey Jr., but he pulls it off on that show. At no point in that show was I distracted by the fact that why is Robert Downey Jr. playing 4 different people on this show? Like, so if he's an alternate dimension Tony Stark, I'm annoyed. I don't want that. I want it to be Victor Von Doom. So if they're going to put him in some makeup and they're going to keep his mask on for a solid 80% of the time, and he's just going to be like, fuck it, I'm going to act the shit out of this part. You know what I mean? Then I think he can do it. And I kind of get it because Robert Downey, Iron Man anchored the entire franchise till Endgame.
Was he not the anchor being of the main?
Yeah. But so I could see them saying, you know what, why not have him come back and be an anchor as a villain for a separate series of movies? Because the other thing I'm worried about is he better be in more than 2 movies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he needs to be in more than 2 movies. Like, I don't want him to be, I mean, I know Thanos was mainly only in 2 movies, but Thanos was.
But he was the threat that they were building towards. Doom could have been that next thing. Yeah,
he was built up over the course of time.
Since Avenger. The first Avenger.
Yeah. Yeah. He was in Guardians. He was, like he actually had a fairly, not a large part in the first Guardians, but I mean, he was in it more than just an in credits character,
Yeah. The only reason I want him to be an alternate version of Tony Stark is because that leaves the door open to have a realistic version of Doom at some point.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, dude, an alternate dimension version of Tony Stark where he turned evil instead of good would be. Yeah. I could see that being cool. Like, could you imagine? It does the whole thing in the cave, but it takes a turn somehow while he's in that cave building that suit.
And that's the gag. His Doom mask is the Mark One.
Yeah,
is the freaking Mark One
breaks,
mask.
and he's never, and he just totally goes off the rails. I mean, that would be cool. And then you also get some drama in there where, the first time his mask comes off, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man sees him and gets all weepy.
Yeah,
he's like, surrogate dad, why? Yeah, yeah.
None of that is Doom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think that's a little. Number one, I'm sick of alternate versions at this point. I'm sick of the multiverse at this point. But that's a little. It's a little unoriginal.
How do you sell a different Doctor Doom after you've all this fan shit?
Exactly. That's my point. Unless you introduce them alongside.
Yeah, and Doctor Doom is so tied in with the Fantastic Four too. Like, that doing it as an alternate version of Tony Stark really doesn't give him any history with Reed Richards, which is a big part of the Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four thing. So I don't know. Podcast I listened to, Weekly Planet, they were saying, if it's an alternate version of Tony Stark, maybe an interesting thing to do would have him do a completely alternate version of the Avengers, like have him bring in Captain Hydra and have it be Chris Evans, have him bring in, who's the evil Thor, what's that character's name? There's a, something like that. And an evil version of Hawkeye, an evil version of all of them. They don't even have to be played by those characters, but I mean, Captain Hydra would be kind of cool. If you're going to do it.
They had that in a stretch of Avengers comics where Norman Osborn formed his own Avengers team.
Yes, that was the example they were using in the podcast I was listening to. He basically did that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had Bullseye as Hawkeye. He had Venom as the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I can see it's just like I said, it just seems desperate. I don't like it.
It's not what I wanted by any stretch. I wanted just a legit comic book accurate Doctor Doom where he's a pompous. I mean, again, he could be playing Victor Von Doom. I mean, we're talking 2 years from now, so who knows? But
I do trust the Russos because I know they also love the characters. So that's my saving grace on this whole situation. But still, I was not happy when I heard.
Yeah,
I want it to be. I want it to be good. I would love to be wrong about it.
At the same time, I'm at the point with the MCU where big part of me didn't care. You know what I mean? So where I'm like, whatever, which is sad in and of itself. But there we are.
Yeah, I agree. There we are. All right. Anybody got any final thoughts on that before we put a pin in it, as they say?
Final thought,
no.
I would say
no, but Superman wrapped principal photography today.
Ah, all right. There you go.
What's the release date on that? Chris Jones is good at telling me release dates.
2025.
July 11th. Yeah, that's another thing that's funny. So like, Superman comes out July 11, 2025. Fantastic Four is supposed to come out 2 weeks prior. Superman wrapped filming today. They're going in the
Fantastic
post.
Four
Fantastic Four just started.
Yeah,
I feel like
crazy.
it's almost like it's a given that Fantastic Four is going to move its date.
Yeah, I agree. And for those playing at home, that is 0 episodes since without a Superman mention.
Well, I mean, my intro music is technically
I guess. Yeah, you got to actually say the word Superman. and I will have you note, friend of the show, Derek Mooterspaw, sent me a message about halfway. He was about halfway through our last episode, and he messaged me and he said, "Hey, I'm not finished the episode yet, but Dutch just brought up Godzilla, and that was the first time Godzilla was brought up because you didn't mention him in the previous episode." And I just wrote back, that's pretty funny, because later on in the episode you're listening to, we actually get into a discussion on whether or not Godzilla was brought up in the previous episode. And he goes, "Well, I'm not that far yet, but I can say for certainty that it was not brought up in the previous episode."
I wasn't trying to say the G word this time. You said it, buddy.
Well, I'm just going to get said anyway, because in a little while I want to get Chris Jones's 5-minute or less -1 review.
Yeah, but is that the episode that Dutch missed that we didn't say it?
Yeah. But honestly, between me and Dutch, I think I definitely bring it up more than Dutch.
Absolutely.
Dutch is the Superman, and I am the Godzilla. I think of the if we were doing a drinking game for those two words in the podcast.
Does the mention of Gojira count?
As Godzilla? I don't know. It might.
It's a proxy reference.
Yeah, it is. All right, so there were some trailers. We saw a couple trailers in the theater, and there's some other stuff. Wait a minute.
You did it again.
Bolo, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Oh no, I was just saying, for the final thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. For me, it's a wait and see. I hope that he does service to the character and elevates him, like he elevated Iron Man. I hope it's what we all are expecting and want from our Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. I just don't want it to be kind of a one-off or a gag. I want it to be full Doom. I want him to deliver for this character.
First off, I agree, and second off, how dare you be mature and responsible with your comic book movie takes? All right,
Yeah,
there's no place for that.
when Dutch said he was trying to withhold judgment, I'm like, on the internet? For real?
Who are
Well,
you?
because you never know. You can see some really outlandish things be done really, really good with a sure hand. And, I trust the Russos as well. I mean, they made the
Four
probably
incredible
arguably the best Marvel movies that were made,
Yeah.
in a row. So
Yeah, I agree.
we just have to see. But all I'm saying is like the surface level examination of the why and trying to make sense of it leaves me with more questions. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to give it a chance or let it work, but this is definitely a wait and see for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also keep in mind, Marvel needs a win. And think about,
Well, they just got one.
I mean, they got one right now.
no, but think about the hits that they've taken. Jonathan Majors, the Kang Dynasty, that has crumbled, right?
Yeah.
So guess what?
Yeah.
Now we're going to bring in a heavy hitter, Robert Downey Jr. We're going to push all that Kang stuff right out your head. We're going to get you talking about this. We're going to get you excited about this next venture that we got going. We got RDJ. He's back, but he's not.
Got to be. Well, I was gonna say it's got to be for the best for them, because like they screwed the pooch on Kang before the Jonathan Majors stuff even came down. You introduced the big baddie character who got beat twice already.
Yeah.
Once by Ant-Man.
Yeah.
In
So,
a fist fight with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
how are we buying that?
Oh, it's 4-2 now, Dutch.
Oh yeah.
Somebody
Hey.
just cracked a home run. I don't know
That
who
looks
that
like
guy
that
is.
was that Chisholm?
I don't like this team, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was Jazz Chisholm.
What's his
They just-
name?
Jazz Chisholm. They just Jazz, Jazz. They just traded for him with the Marlins.
Well, he's got a fake name. Coming soon.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
All right. Coming soon. So I don't know, Dutch. Did I send this? I think I sent this trailer to the group text. The Transformers 1 trailer.
You did.
The second trailer.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that one looked better than the first trailer, but I still probably will not go to the movies and see it. That's my take on that. It definitely does look better, and it looks less childish than the first one did.
Still seem pretty childish.
Yeah, the humor definitely falls flat, but I feel like at least I get more of a, I don't know, man, that first trailer, I just felt like it was just just a lot of silly nonsense. And I don't know. Also, Steve Buscemi as the voice of Starscream, I think could be an inspired choice. Honestly. So, yeah. So
I did note the voice acting in that trailer is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Even the dude doing Megatron, who he's in the Godzilla Kong movie. He's actually a comedian, I think. And he seems to when it gives you that glimpse of Megatron going fully bad, he's doing a pretty good job with the voice there. And Chris Hemsworth sounds. I mean, I wouldn't have known it was Chris Hemsworth had I not, previously hearing it. I wouldn't have said that. Is that Chris Hemsworth? But
he sounds enough like Optimus Prime to where you can roll with it.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good.
No pun intended.
Yeah, heroic voice. Yeah, I got that there. I just hate that they feel the need to have Optimus Prime's face mask, be gone or be something that pops up, because dude, he's a robot. Like he doesn't need a mouth. You know what I mean? It's fine. But whatever.
Scarlett Johansson seemed energetic for her. She's kind of like in the movies we've seen. She kind of has that dry delivery.
Yeah.
But in this one, she seemed appropriately, into it.
Yeah. I that I'll definitely watch it once it hits streaming or whatever. But I don't think I'd go to the movies for it. speaking of the Transformers movie reformatted, or I think it's just called Transformers the movie reformat. I don't know why. A full trailer for that is dropping Friday 8/2, and then it will be streaming on September the 6th. It is it's a fully CG. It looks to be. I've only seen screenshots. It looks like it's CG enhanced, or the animation is greatly cleaned up or enhanced or something. I don't know what the whole deal is. I don't think it has any extra scenes or anything like that. But
how do you feel about it being a diehard?
I mean, it's fine. If they could ever get the extra scenes that were storyboarded and not filmed and animate those and include them, that would be cool, because there was some really cool stuff that was not in the movie that would be pretty neat to see. Nothing major, but just some more stuff.
You're talking about the original animated movie from the 80s.
Yeah, the original 86 movie, yeah. There were a couple of scenes that would have been pretty neat, but they'd never, for whatever reason, were never fully completed. That would be cool to see, but it doesn't look like anything new's in this. So, and then I don't know what you guys saw when you saw Deadpool and Wolverine, but we did see the new Beetlejuice trailer. Me and Quinn saw that when we went to see it, and that looks decent. Looks good enough.
I'm pretty excited for that one.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
it looks.
I'm for it.
It looks okay. Yeah,
looks passable. Yeah, I'll go see it.
And then again, me and Quinn saw the Red Band trailer for Alien Romulus.
That was shown on mine as well.
Yeah, and I know you're the Alien guy. So are you there opening night?
Opening night, don't know. Opening weekend, probably. It looks like this looks pretty good. I mean, I like personally what I've seen of it. Looks a lot better than Alien Covenant. I'll give it that. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna go check it out. I'm still wondering how you can get a light to show through your body so that you can see a chest burster in there, but maybe it's a special kind of light.
Hey, those are legit 4K UHD flashlights.
Yeah, they're
for your body.
And those aren't going to fry your organs up or anything.
Those are space approved. You're okay with those lights.
Can you imagine you went to your doctor?
Yeah.
They were like, hang on a second, I'll check.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you don't have an alien in your chest. The bad news is you stage 4 lung cancer.
Yeah. I've melted your kidneys with this flashlight.
That's exactly what happened.
But it looks great. I'm pretty pumped for that one.
See,
yeah, it doesn't look terrible. It's got it looks like it's got a horror movie vibe, which I can appreciate. That's another one I'll catch on streaming though. That's not my favorite franchise, but that does look. There are some things in it that look horrifying. The finally seeing the alien. The aliens inserting themselves down the throats of their horrifying, dude. Jesus
it's
Christ.
disturbing.
Yeah, I do not like that.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies watching that.
Yeah, that is not good.
I mean, I hope it's good because we saw the Predator franchise sort of get back on track with Prey, and now it'll be really cool to see the Alien franchise kind of get it going again. And
I will probably see it. I didn't really see anything in that trailer that takes the franchise somewhere else. It seems kind of the more of the same. That said, I was thinking about it. I don't know how else to do an Alien trailer. You know what I mean? I don't know what changes I'm even looking for in it, but it just seemed kind of the same Alien story. Hey, we're trapped on a spaceship with these aliens that we've seen a couple times before. So. But like I said, I thought it was a decent trailer. I just don't think it's breaking any new ground.
It has a vibe of the 80s horror movie trope of some kids go where they're not supposed to go, and and they all pay terribly for their foolishness. Yeah, except in space. As opposed to a house or a cabin in the woods, or you know what I mean, or something like that, or So
On the
Yeah.
plus side, they're not going to get arrested for trying to steal this stuff because
no, they're just gonna get
they're going to die.
They're just gonna
Alright.
get throat fucked
In
by an
space.
alien. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Much
that's the
better.
kind of thing where I'm like, when I see the trailer, I'm like, meh. But if the studio was like, all right, Quinn, well, what would you do different? I'm like, I don't know. I'd probably
some
That's-
kids get on a spaceship.
have some kids get on a spaceship. Exactly.
And that's always the thing to keep in mind, dude, especially when it comes to like IPs. It's like sometimes it's harder to get something made than you think it is. I mean, everybody always thinks they can do better. Maybe some of them can, and maybe the people who were on the movie wanted to do better, but you're dealing with studio notes, you're dealing with a lot of cooks in the kitchen sometimes. So I think if this movie just turns out to be a really not boring sort of effective entry in the Alien franchise, and maybe there's a couple new ideas here and there, I mean, I think that'd be a win for it. I don't think the expectations are terribly high.
Will they
Oh,
give
no.
us a character that we care about more than we care about the alien itself? You know, or are these just going to be faceless kids, Friday the 13th kids that are just disposable?
I
So-
feel
Yeah.
they're disposable, and we're getting the story told from the alien's perspective, from a horror element, legitimately. Because just like Brian said, you know, that thing inserting itself into you, we're getting like real up
That's
close
creepy.
and personal with these creatures,
Yeah,
more so than we have in any other movie.
Yeah, that's some nasty shit.
yeah, it really is.
So yeah, those were the trailers that I had notes for. Did you guys see or hear of anything interesting? Upcoming? Anything at all? Anything? Bueller?
That wasn't all there was it? Because I feel like we sat there watching trailers for 45 minutes.
No, there were others. I'm just what they were escape. There's so many now.
We did get Captain America: Brave New World.
I was going
trailer.
to mention that.
Oh
one,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. We should talk about that one. I guess. I mean, we talked about that one briefly. It was the same trailer we'd already seen.
Yes.
Just on the big screen. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good. You know what I mean? I really do. I
don't want to be embarrassed for Harrison Ford. That's all.
Yeah.
Just be good enough to where I don't get that.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
picture them like having to recast Thunderbolt Ross again.
Yeah. I mean, and I like Anthony Mackie, and I liked Falcon, and I like the idea of Falcon being Captain America. I like, the wings on the Captain America suit and all that kind of shit's cool. So I hope it's really good. It looks like it's a little bit more of a political thriller in the
like a Winter Soldier almost.
But that's what we thought Secret Invasion was going to be too. So
that's true.
And
they
God
did
almighty.
bring back Isaiah from the Falcon Winter Soldier show, the first unheralded Captain America. So I like that. I like that storyline. Maybe they lean into that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's got Giancarlo Esposito. It was just announced that he is playing Serpentor or something. Snake.
GW Bridge. He was an old.
He's like
I
the
thought he was
leader of-
GW Bridge. He's Sidewinder.
Yes, that's who he is. No, is that who it is? Sidewinder. He's the leader of the Serpent Society. Is that?
Yeah, he said that at the Comic Con. He's like, "Can I say it?" And then he said it. Yeah,
yeah, that's who.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know who that is, but is that cool? Is that not? Is that cool? I don't know.
I honestly
well,
don't
having
know.
him in there is cool, but he almost seems overused now from a villain perspective. But yeah, and I don't have any particular feeling about that character. They can have him do whatever he wants to do. Whatever they want to use him. Those are like bottom tier Marvel characters.
Yeah, I saw today people, 3 or 4 people on my Facebook page were freaking out about apparently in Thunderbolts, Bucky and Sentinel are going to have a fight, and people are like flipping out because there's no way Bucky should be able to fight. It's like he'd be fighting Superman. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know what they're going to do.
Oh, you mean the Sentry?
Yeah,
The Sentry, sorry, not the Sentinel. The Sentry.
Sentinel.
But
Big purple
people
robot?
are like freaking out about that, and I'm like, well, dude, they can change they power scale people all the time,
Yeah.
So
I saw a headline. I did not read the article. That in the Thunderbolts movie, Bucky's going to be a congressman.
A congressman. I saw that too, and I didn't know if that was supposed to be a joke or not.
Me neither.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But no, he should not be able to last with the Sentry for a heartbeat.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's like Daredevil versus Superman.
Yeah.
That's not going to work at all.
No.
All right, let's
Although,
move-
I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
the Sentry's supposed to be mentally screwed up, so he could, he'd have a better chance talking his way out of that fight.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, let's move on to our feature presentation because we got a big one to talk about.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, before we do that, Bolo, you saw Godzilla Minus One.
Yes, I did. And allow me to say, and I'll keep it short and sweet. It's probably one of the best Godzilla movies I've seen to date. I love what he did character-wise with it. I love the special effects of Kong. I'm sorry, not Kong. I'm sorry, Zilla himself with the chart. I'm sorry. I still have Godzilla versus Kong with the gauntlet in my head too. Please forgive me.
I'm just like, which movie did you watch again?
I'm just ready to be like, dude, if he accidentally watched, that would be the most Bolo thing.
No, it's great.
really
It's
was.
the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yo, he was.
I watched Godzilla X Kong by its alternate title.
Yeah. If he would have just talked about Godzilla versus Kong for 5 minutes and we just let him run, that would have been the best.
We missed.
No,
we missed
I
golden moment.
apologize. Kong was a slip.
So what did you think of this movie?
Yeah, I loved it. Godzilla with the charging of the blast and the spikes coming up on the back. I was generally surprised. I was like, that is absolutely cool. I mean, I really enjoyed that. And I love how they actually had a plan on trying to stop the creature. And it worked technically. But then, as we know at the end, he's sinking to the bottom of the ocean and he comes to. So we know there's probably going to be a Godzilla minus 2. So
Maybe. What did you think of the human story?
I enjoyed it. Like I said, all the characters, I thoroughly enjoyed that. That actually, I found it really engaging.
Yeah, cool. It's a great movie.
I had a funny conversation with a millennial, I guess, at work. He was because I had been talking up that movie all summer, and he was talking about how he enjoys the Godzilla movies. He's like, I did see one last year that was terrible, and slowly during the course of the conversation, I realized he was talking about Minus One.
Oh.
And I was like, "Are you kidding? You didn't like that movie and everything?" He was like, "It was in Japanese."
Oh my God.
I was like, "Well, yeah." And apparently, he and all his friends had gone to the theater not knowing it was in Japanese, not knowing there were going to be subtitles. He's like, "We had to read the whole thing."
Oh my God. Yeah, but even once you realized that was the case, you still couldn't enjoy the movie.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
they walked out of it like, "Bleh, that was a waste of time."
What uncultured swines.
Yeah, right? God. All right. And then obviously the big movie that all four of us saw. It is the #1 movie in the country and probably the world. So far, it's raked in like 440 million worldwide.
Wow.
So movies are back, baby. Deadpool and Wolverine. This beautiful synopsis submitted by Dutch. Just when you thought the multiverse had played itself out, Deadpool must traverse the timeline simultaneously, making fun of and showing reverence to the Fox era. And that's a fairly good synopsis of the movie.
Yeah. And bringing arguably the most popular character from the Fox universe along with him.
Yeah. So without spoiling anything yet, Dutch, what do you rate this flick?
From a pure fun and spectacle standpoint, I'm gonna give it 10 Van Helsings. I'm going 10 out of 10. 10 Van Helsings, easy. I'm not saying it's like the best movie in the world or like its plot is the best. I mean, it's very self-aware that this is another multiverse movie, but everything that was happening with those two guys, you could just tell that they were enjoying themselves so much, and I freaking had fun with it. I'm planning to go see it again Thursday night with a buddy of mine, so
Cool. Bolo, how about you?
Again, I'm a fan of these characters. Love them immensely. I give it 10 Van Helsings out of 10. Simply because Deadpool has delivered in the first two films, and there's always been mention of Logan throughout those two pictures, and it was a foregone conclusion for them to finally come together. And I was pleasantly surprised. It was a cinematic treat for me. I got a lot of Wolverine visuals that were insanely exciting stuff. I had toys of some of the stuff that I saw on screen, so I was giddy with joy to see that stuff. So I was completely blown away. And then the other stuff that we're going to talk about, non-spoilerish, once we get to that territory. Again, absolutely fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyable.
How about you, Quinn?
I loved it. It's hilarious from beginning to end. I laughed really, really hard. I will say, boy, it's a movie made just for us. You know what I mean? It's not as accessible as I thought it would be.
Absolutely.
Like, you not only have to have seen some relatively obscure Marvel movies
and shows,
right? But you actually have to know the backstories of movies that may or may not have been made, and kind of the behind the scenes drama behind some of the other films. So, stuff that the general public that just likes the first Deadpool movies may not get. But that said, I don't care about those people because I got I got the jokes. They were made for me. So I really, really enjoyed it. I thought in addition to the comedy, I thought the acting was great. Hugh Jackman has that scene in the car where he's arguing with Wade right before they fight. And I'm like, I haven't seen him emote like that for a long time. So that was like the movie Logan level drama that he's dramatic performance that he's given right there. So really high quality. It doesn't save the Marvel universe by any stretch, you know what I mean? But it's a nice bright spot after a kind of a series of mediocre content.
Yeah. What did you give it out of Van Helsing's?
Oh, I feel like the Van Helsing's, like the more we give, the more insulting it is. But you know what I mean? Just
the opposite is true on this podcast.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a backhanded compliment, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Quinn with the 10 Van Helsings.
10 Van Helsings.
I'm the dissenting opinion.
What's that?
I guess I'm the dissenting opinion. I thought it was very good. I do not think it fixed the Marvel universe. In fact, it may have made things
a little muddier.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us were saying that.
Yeah. I thought all in all it was good. I thought the action was. I thought the last fight was flat. But all in all, I liked it. I'd probably give it 8 out of 10 Van Helsings. I think
I can respect that. The as far as movies go, if I wanted to show somebody a great 10 out of 10 movie, that may not be the one I show them. You know what I mean? Because it does have its flaws.
It's a different kind of 10 out of 10 movie, I think.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it every moment of it. I will say that. But there were things, and it'll probably be more spoilery when we get into that section. But I do, especially that last fight. It was just filmed in such a way where I just felt like it was so like they were just going from left to right, just mowing people down. Also, like, it's cool when they fight each other, but at the same time, there's really no stakes there because they're both
right.
For all intents and purposes, they're invincible.
They're going to regenerate.
Yeah, so it's funny the first 7 times that they stab each other in the leg, or You know what I mean? When Logan has a trident sticking out of his, out of his back or whatever. But after a while, there's no real stakes there with it because you're like, well, they're not going to die. Like they can't even get really hurt, except maybe if you lop off Deadpool's head, maybe. Like I don't.
He did that in X-Men Origins. His eyes popped open.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's probably as far as I'll go without spoilers. So without further ado, I guess we'll get into the spoiler section, and we will say this is at 106 in the podcast. So we're gonna do spoilers now. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, check the notes, and I will have a note on when the spoilers end. But starting right now, we're gonna have spoilers. Here comes spoilers. It's the sad spoiler music. So anyway, yeah, the movie. So it starts off with right off the bat him digging up the corpse of Wolverine from Logan. And there's really no explanation given for it. He's got his voiceover going, and he says, breaking the fourth wall, which he does a lot. People were worried that we were going to disrespect Logan, so let's get that right out of the way. And he immediately starts digging up Logan's grave because he's convinced that Logan can't die. Like Wolverine can't die. He's alive. He's buried under here. And then, of course, lo and behold, there's a skeleton, which is all pretty funny. And that's how the opening credits play out, with him using all the different parts of Wolverine's skeleton to kill what seems to be like hundreds of TVA agents. And then there's a flashback where he is pulled into the TVA and is told that Logan dying basically doomed Deadpool's timeline.
And that was after he universe hops a bit. Yeah.
No, he universe hops a bit to find a different Logan.
Well, when did he apply for a job with?
Oh, well, it shows him applying for a job at the Avengers.
Yeah,
and interviewing with Happy Hogan, which is pretty fun.
And I didn't quite get that. So maybe you guys had a better.
I'm going to agree with you, because that wouldn't be in his timeline, right? That would be in.
I think if I remember correctly, that was the whole reason the TVA was. Well, one of the reasons they were after him was because he was using Cable's time machine to hop around. So he used that to go to the 616 timeline to apply for the Avengers and then hop back to his timeline. At least that's how I understood it.
And that's what I didn't get, because I thought that device was just a time machine, not like a dimension hopper.
Oh, it is now.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But
who cares? It's fun to see.
Yeah. That whole sequence with him and Happy was.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, that sequence was fun too, with him interviewing at the Avengers Tower was pretty funny. And him with that fucking toupee on is funny as hell. So yeah, he gets pulled in. He meets what's his name in the whatever. He's one of the TVA guys. He's going rogue. Yeah, Paradox. He's going rogue. Instead of waiting for Deadpool's timeline to slowly die out over thousands of years, he's decided to just basically explode it in 72 hours. And he wants Deadpool to, I guess, basically jump to a different timeline.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying, like, hey, you can go be something somewhere else, or you can die and all your friends are going to die. And then there's
he thinks he's doing him a favor, but I forget the reason why he thinks that.
Yeah, and then there's a fun sequence where he jumps around looking for Wolverine, and there's some cool stuff there. So he finds a comic book accurate Wolverine who's like 4 feet tall.
I felt so bad for him when he was making fun of him. I'm like, really? Come on. There's like
it was still Hugh Jackman, was it not? It was just a short.
I don't know.
It was just a Hobbit-sized Hugh Jackman.
But a lot of comic book throwbacks.
Yeah, Quinn, you knew all of those. I only knew. I recognized the one where he was on the giant X, like crucified on the giant X, with the comic book cover. and I recognized Patch, where he's that's his secret agent, alter ego, alter persona. I didn't recognize any of the other ones. So, but there was
they had the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine who's missing a hand.
Yeah,
And
that one I got a giddy over.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite storylines from the comics. So I was real happy about that. But yeah, that was a neat sequence.
And then it had, I'm sure, Bolo's favorite Wolverine and possibly Dutch's, the Henry Cavill.
Oh my god, dude!
Wolverine.
That was just the best.
It was awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Super Wolverine.
Dude,
he did that thing where he cocks his arms and the claws come out.
He did the Mission Impossible arms, and he Superman punches him through the portal.
It was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that was like, oh my god, the theater was howling. I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, this is, and I love the joke he made. He's like, we'll treat you way better than those shit fucks down the street.
What a great dig! What a great dig.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I couldn't believe my eyes that it was actually him. He's like the Cavalrine.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And so he eventually does find a Logan, who's apparently the worst Logan of any of the Logans that have ever Loganed.
Which they don't have a good explanation for.
No, not really at all. Him and Logan.
He's just the Logan that lost his friends because he was out drinking. But other than that, he's the same character.
Yeah, he's basically. I mean, yeah, he's basically the same. He's basically the same Logan that was in the movie Logan, for all intents and purposes.
Like a younger version of him.
But just exactly. So yeah, they end up going to the Badlands. Is that what that's called?
The Borderlands.
They called it the Void, didn't they?
The Void, but they're looking for the Borderlands in the Void.
Yeah. So when you get zapped by the TVA, which if you've seen Loki, if you get zapped by their sticks, you get sent away to this basically like a
wasteland,
like a purgatory almost for pruned.
Where you get eaten by
people.
a big
where you
cloud.
get eaten by a cloud thing.
Cloud dragon.
Which has a name, but I can't for the life of me remember it. But
I think it's Goliath, and it's one of those great callbacks because when they say, "Oh God, Goliath is coming," he's like, "From Loki, season 1, episode 5."
Yeah, which was so funny.
There were this movie had so many funny jokes in it. Like the moment where when he runs up to the camera and he's like, "Fuck you, Fox! I'm going to Disney." So you're like, "Suck my fucking dick, Fox! I'm going to Disney," and he just like headbutts the camera or something.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Just so freaking funny, and like I can't believe
the funniest part about that is when he did it, it cuts to the people he was in the room with, and none of them they're looking at him, and there's nothing there for him to have been yelling at or headbutting a camera. It's just that's what makes that even funnier.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, that's a great conceit in the comics. So it's like people will call that out when he's fourth wall breaking. They're like, "Who are you talking to?"
Yeah, that was really funny. So yeah, him and Wolverine end up there. They have they fight. They fight a few times in this movie, and I feel like I'm saying yeah, there are some good fight scenes with them.
Really good fight scenes,
and they're funny, and their quips back and forth are really funny. Their banter's funny.
And Wolverine looks like you always wanted him to look
great
while
in
he's
the
fighting.
yellow.
Only took 20 years or 20. This 24 years.
Oh, we get that during that montage we were talking about. We get a great look at the brown and tan suited
Wolverine,
which is the one I grew up with.
Yeah, that's my favorite Wolverine suit, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a fight. Sabretooth shows up from X-Men 1.
Mm-hmm.
Played by Tyler Mane again.
Played by the same guy, yeah. And they have a fight that is very anticlimactic, but it was more played for laughs, I think, than anything. But it was pretty cool.
Well, it's actually, I think it's a callback to Wolverine because Sabretooth in that movie asked if he even knew how to kill him, and he's like, "I was thinking about cutting your head off."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And you run into some other mutants, and then you see a mysterious hooded stranger appears. Who? Oh my God! It's Chris Evans. It's Captain America, and
he's even wearing the colors. He's got the cloak on, so you can't tell. But when he points his arm, it's the blue and red.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think who's there giving them shit? It's like Pyro. There's a whole bunch of henchmen.
I think
Mad Max style.
Yeah, they
the
show up.
Russian, Russian, not played by Kevin Nash this time.
Yes, yeah.
Juggernaut, not played by Vinnie
Not by-
Jones.
Yeah.
I think Lady Deathstrike was still played by was it Kelly Hu played her?
Kelly,
And,
yeah.
I think that's her. If I remember, there was so much going on.
If it's her, they wasted her because they did not show her at all.
Yeah, they didn't show her enough. Then
Yeah, that's why I was curious about it, because I was like, I thought that was her, but I don't know. I'd have to go check.
Yeah. And then you
I'm
get the
gonna be
great
honest,
joke where
I don't think it was her.
No,
I mean,
I
it
don't
could have
think it
just
was
been a CGI version of her because I'm pretty sure I saw Olivia Munn's.
I didn't think. See, I didn't think. I didn't think
at
that
one
was.
point.
That didn't. Well, I saw what I thought was Psylocke, but I was like, that doesn't look like Olivia.
Well,
Munn
it was so far sort of out of the back in the back of the shot that just the way she came down made me think it looked very similar to how she drops down in the one movie, whatever the Age of Apocalypse, I guess is the movie.
Yeah.
That she's in. But yeah, he turns into the Human Torch. He is not Captain America. He's the Human Torch.
And it's another great joke where he's like,
it's pretty.
he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. They thought he was gonna say Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
And he says flame on.
Flame on.
Flame on.
He was like,
That got a huge pop.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Human Torch visual is still one of the most striking ones in comics. You know what I mean?
I
It just
love
looks
Human Torch.
awesome.
He's one of my favorite superheroes. It's just such a cool power.
Yeah.
So you end up meeting the I guess the big bad of that purgatory area, who is
Cassandra Nova.
Yes, who is Professor X's twin sister, who has similar powers to him, but not quite the same. Hers are much more gross, like she has to stick her fingers into your brain to read your thoughts. The first time that effect occurred, I thought it looked kind of wonky. When she was doing it to Paradox, I thought it was gross as shit, like the way his eyes rolling around and stuff. So that was cool. They get captured, they escape, they meet up with a group of sort of rebels, I guess, for lack of a better word. And that's where you get a whole bunch of cameos there.
Oh man, dude.
I just want to say before we move on, the actress that plays Cassandra Nova was fantastic.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
And she also, I thought they did her powers amazing. But damn if she doesn't look exactly like the comic Charles Xavier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with the really sharp eyebrows and features and the bald head, she looks at you completely buy it when you hear that she's his twin.
Yep.
Yeah, she's awesome. I was actually hoping that she ended up at the end of the movie coming into the current timeline through some sort of mishap and being a villain in a movie going forward. I mean, she does end up coming into this timeline, but then she's in true Marvel fashion killed. like they kill all their cool villains after one movie. But it would have been pretty cool to see her in another movie because she was a really strong, really cool villain. I liked her a lot.
Well, real quick, Brian. That guy who said didn't have a real name just hit a 3-run shot to put the Yankees.
Is that the same guy?
Jazz Whistle.
Jesus Christ. Well, the Phillies are now losing 5-4 for those of you playing along at home. But yeah, she was cool. So then, like I said, you get a whole bunch of cool cameos. One of, I'm sure, Bolo that you flipped the hell out for. But we get Elektra first, right? She comes in. Jennifer Garner, Elektra.
I was excited to see her. She looked fantastic. Jennifer Garner.
First off, she looked fucking great.
Yeah,
she's been in the gym. She looked big.
Yeah, she looked really good.
She was great. Channing
Tatum comes in as Gambit, which is a super inside joke because he's never been Gambit in anything before. He was just cast as Gambit in an unmade movie,
and which made all his dialogue hilarious because he was like, I think I've just always been here.
Yeah, he basically says he thinks he was born there. which is pretty cool. So and then of course Blade.
That was
which was pretty
Let me tell
awesome.
you
I'm not
something.
gonna lie.
Let me
It's
tell you
so
something.
unexpected.
I think that
given-
was the biggest pop in the whole in
Yeah.
the whole movie in my
It
theater.
was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I geeked out hard as hell because I was just like, it's a dream come true, but also he's not my same Blade from 1998.
Oh, he's old.
Well, I
He's
mean,
old.
he looks and sounds old, but
Yeah,
gives
it
a
was still
shit?
really cool to see him.
but
They didn't
time
help,
on
but
screen.
they didn't help by giving him the white goatee.
That white patch,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, but I can. Let me tell you something. Like I had the same thought when he walked in about, oh my God, Wesley looks thin and old.
yeah, like his.
But in the
costume-
fight scene later, he looks
looks
like
like-
Blade.
yeah, he's
You know what
fighting
I mean?
like Blade.
He is fighting like Blade, and
Yeah.
he kills Toad in epic fashion. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
pretty
much. That was very much a Blade kill.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So, but just in that scene alone, you have to have seen Elektra or Daredevil, the original with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
they make a reference to like because they made like two divorce
yeah.
references? They made one
Yeah.
to Hugh Jackman's real life divorce, and then I think they made a reference to Jen and Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
they said, "Where's Daredevil?"
He said
And they're like-
Daredevil, and he said he died, and they were like, "We're so sorry," and she goes, "It's okay."
Wasn't there a rumor? Wasn't he supposed to be in this as Daredevil again?
I
Wasn't that
wonder if
rumored?
they, I wonder if they got her as Elektra because he said, "I'm not doing this as Daredevil." Like, I kind of wonder if she was like,
You know, that
if
was
she
good
was like,
for her.
plan
That was
B.
because what was great about that group, and what was because if you think about this, the only true cameo in the movie was actually Henry Cavill. All these other people are supporting characters, and they have
they're
something
Marvel
to do.
adjacent. Yeah,
Yeah,
They have something to do. Like it's not just like, oh, there's Channing Tatum for 2 seconds, or Blade's gonna come in and say a line. That like they actually had a significant scene.
well, there's a quick McConaughey appearance later on.
yeah,
The cowboy Deadpool.
Cowboy. Yeah.
Exactly. But,
You're right though. They're not cameos. They're pretty important they're integral to the story, especially that group of people there. So they're like, how can we defeat her? Because and they're like,
you forgot
he keeps
the big-
asking about Magneto, which is pretty
Yeah.
like, is it Magneto? Is it Magneto? And an X-23, of course,
yeah.
comes out, which was it sucks that they spoiled that in the last
That would have been
trailer.
that would have been another
'Cause
great
that would have been-
surprise.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. But yeah, she was the last of that group to come out, which is cool. Of that
But
whole
also,
group,
our Wolverine doesn't know her.
yeah, exactly.
So there's
He
nothing like doesn't
he
have
know-
any emotional
yeah, he doesn't
stakes.
have who
because
she,
he
yeah,
doesn't-
he doesn't know who she is. She knows who he is though,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know. And he's also the first Wolverine to ever appear in the Void because there's never been a
Right.
Wolverine been pruned before. So they're all very excited to have a Wolverine.
Yeah.
Even like the villain is very excited to see a Wolverine in the
Yeah.
Void. Which is kind of,
Whereas there's a million Deadpools.
there's a lot of Deadpools, including nice Deadpool,
Nice pool.
who is
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds with minus any makeup and with a
Beautiful
like
flowing hair.
flowing hair and a top knot.
with a top knot. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's also and a hideously ugly dog.
yeah.
That
Yo,
dog was
is-
beautiful. Come on.
That is the world's ugliest dog, like
Yeah.
contest winner.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
There's no such thing as an ugly dog.
Yeah. So they they come up with a plan. Deadpool keeps asking him about Magneto. There's no Magneto. They're like, well, if we could block her, mental powers, if we had Magneto's helmet, and they were like, well, we did have Magneto's helmet, and he's like, great, but she destroyed it right after she killed Magneto. So, but then they're like, oh, but Juggernaut's helmet can block her waves. So if we can get Juggernaut's helmet for you guys, if you can get that on her, you can.
And I like how they made that reference. That thing ain't coming off.
Yeah. So they
Speaking of Juggernaut, I'm sorry, let me interrupt real quick. The guy who played him, his name is Aaron Reed. He's a bodybuilder and a fitness influencer. I do follow him, so that's I recognize him immediately.
So needless to say, he wasn't wearing a muscle suit.
That's him. That's his body.
yeah.
That's his body. That guy's huge.
Yeah.
Nothing against
He's a
Vinny
big
Jones,
dude.
but he wore a muscle suit in 2007.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that Wolverine, or not Wolverine. Excuse me. That Juggernaut look too. Like,
Yeah,
if you're gonna
it's
do
terrible.
Juggernaut, just lean into the ridiculousness of it.
Well, they did in Deadpool 2. Juggernaut's great in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
And
that.
then they
That
dispatched
whole
him by
like,
sticking a freaking live wire up his ass.
yeah.
But
Well,
just the his dialogue, I'm gonna rip you in half now.
yeah.
You know?
And just so you, if you didn't know, that was the Juggernaut's voice is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I did know that. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
sound anything like him. Even on
No,
rewatching, knowing that, you
Yeah.
can't tell.
Yeah, I had no idea. So yeah, your group of like misfit Marvel characters there gets a pretty badass fight scene.
Yes, they did.
And I fully expected them to all die, especially like in a humorous fashion, because that's
Yeah,
how they
like
killed.
X-Force.
Yeah, and that's also how they killed Human Torch. Like he gets killed.
Yeah.
He appears to get killed in a humorous fashion immediately, and then he's not dead, and then he gets killed in a humorous fashion a little while later. And but they don't. They all get like a straight up badass fight scene. Like they all
Dude,
get a moment to
Gambit
shine.
on screen. Gambit's powers on screen. Holy shit!
He was probably my favorite of that fight because you finally
Yeah.
got a chance to see him. With the cards, he had his staff. He was pretty awesome. That whole fight was pretty good. That might have been my favorite fight. I
didn't like how the henchmen just acted like henchmen. Like I would have liked them to show their powers also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just kind of kind of stormtrooper-esque, where they just died in whatever way the hero wants them to. Blade has that great, like, it was so great to see him in action. I know I already talked about it, but he's got that same expression on his face that he does in the Blade movies when he's fighting.
Yeah.
Man, I got just a huge kick out of that. Elektra looked great. I hated her movie. I absolutely hated the Elektra movie.
Yeah,
the movie's terrible. Can I ask a quick question about? Did anybody else have a problem with the visual of Gambit? Like the
suit looks terrible. I thought
it seemed like it was too much. He looked really uncomfortable.
I was actually gonna mention that because is Channing Tatum just like really just the way he's built like that? But I mean, Gambit's more of like a leaner guy.
But I think that was just kind of. I thought that was a joke in and of itself. Like this was a comic rendering of what he would have looked like had they made that movie back in whatever year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not flattering, that whole head and neck piece that he's wearing.
Yeah. But it is kind of comic book accurate.
It's absolutely comic book accurate and cartoon accurate.
Yeah.
The thing is, had he toned down that I guess that purple piece on the chest, if that was a little more slim,
yeah,
it would.
I don't think they were trying to make him look cool in any sense of the word.
Not at all. Or sound cool.
Well, no, I thought he nailed the accent.
Yeah, he sounded
talking about his dad.
More so than I was expecting Channing Tatum to do.
Yeah, he sounded like Gambit, the cartoon.
Yeah. So
he's real quietly like with his 21 Jump Street movies, his cameo in the End of the World movie with Seth Rogen, like This Is the End, whatever. His funny cameo in Bullet Train, you know what I mean? He's building like a niche for himself as this kind of comic relief character.
Oh man, he's great.
Yeah. So, but I thought the actual Gambit in action during that fight, I was like, holy shit, I would see a Gambit movie.
Hell yeah.
I would. Because they nailed a special effects, visual with the cards, the explosions. They crushed that.
Yeah, I didn't think. I didn't really think X-23 got. She had such badass scenes in Logan. She didn't really have a remarkable part in that fight, except for versus the Juggernaut.
I say she cut Juggernaut's head off. So.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah.
What reason would she have for being there?
I don't think you can ask those kind of questions.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that in this movie where it's like, what You got to turn your brain off for certain things.
Why would you have? Why would they have pruned you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because we don't know. Is she the one from Logan, or is she a different version from it? You know what I mean?
She remembered everything that happened in Logan.
Yeah, they're all supposed to be variants, according to the Loki show. Like, even Loki in that show is a variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, this didn't fix the overall issues with doing multiversal stuff, other than the very, very, very pointed, speech that he gives, where he's like, "Look, we've all tried the multiverse stuff. It doesn't work. Let's enough with the multiverse." Which is like, yes, thank you. And honestly, I think that was him just being like, I think that was Marvel just being like, we're done with the multiverse. Yeah, he's right. Multiverse sucked. We're done. And I think
I love when he tells Wolverine that he's joining at kind of a low point.
Yeah, which was also funny. Yeah.
Let's not skip my favorite exchange in the whole movie. In that scene where he meets those outcasts, where Blade says, "I don't like you," and Ryan Reynolds says, "You never did."
You never did, yeah.
But also, to speak to that, Wesley does an
I saw that interview that you're about to.
Yeah.
He said we've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
I don't believe a word of that.
No, hell no. He did, no. He hated him.
I saw that same interview, but if you know anything about the backstory of the making of Blade 3, which Ryan Reynolds is in,
he hated the director.
Each other. Yeah.
Wow.
He hated the director to the point that he would not speak to the director. He would write things on Post-it notes.
Well, that was didn't David Goyer direct that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He would write things on Post-it notes for the director, give them to him, and he would sign them from Blade.
Yeah.
That's how much he didn't like the director. Apparently, he was very upset because it was becoming a Ryan Reynolds movie more than a Blade movie, and he's right. It is.
Well, let me tell you something. He said Ryan Reynolds' humor was way over the top, and he was not into it. I agreed with him. If you watch that movie,
I agree too. Yeah, it doesn't fit at all.
It doesn't fit at all.
Yeah.
It's unfunny, and it just doesn't work. But they hated each other. Ryan Reynolds has been very open over the years of shitting on Wesley Snipes, saying he didn't come out of his trailer. He was high all the time because all he did was smoke weed. So the fact that Wesley Snipes is trying to play it off like it's a fake feud, like Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon. No, it absolutely was not. They hated each other.
They really did not like each other. Yeah. Much like how I hate George Clooney.
Friend of the show, George Clooney.
Friend of the third George Clooney.
I will say this. The thing that I thought, and you guys are going to probably disagree with me, was kind of weak story wise, not performance wise, was the villain. Like Cassandra Nova the character was great. The performance was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, I kept thinking to myself, because we didn't get an appearance from Professor X, which I thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have made that a little bit, that could have made it work a little bit more. But I was asking myself this. Why couldn't you have had that villain with the same powers be Jean Grey?
Oh.
That would have been a lot more emotional for Wolverine.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, think of and who knows? Maybe for all I know, maybe that was their idea, and Famke Jensen or Sophie Turner didn't. Well, it would have had to have been Famke Jensen to really
to have any emotional. Yeah,
yeah, but like she could have been just like the Phoenix, like amped up. Like I'm just like, she has the same powers, just about. I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have really raised the stakes for Wolverine, because they were doing the emotional aspect of like he abandoned the X-Men and then he found them dead and this and that. So I thought,
it's a great speech from Wolverine to her, where she's like, Charles would have burned everything down to come find you if he knew you were. So I thought that was a great speech by him. But I agreed, like they could have easily done that. I think I'm glad. I liked what I saw.
So did I
from that one, but I think you're right. It would have been.
I think it would have been great. Yeah,
it would have been great to have that throwback.
And like, if I was going to ask you cameos that you were surprised, or not even cameos, but characters you were surprised didn't appear, Professor X would have been probably my first one, but she would have been my second one. I think Jean Grey.
Yeah.
that would have been a very. I'm really surprised because of how important the Jean Grey Wolverine thing was in the first 2 X-Men movies.
Yeah, and they were all at the end of
and the third one
Days of
too,
Future
which
Past.
Well, yeah, the third one too, where he really, I mean, the original trilogy, I guess, yeah. How big of a deal that was, and she's awesome as Jean Grey. I think she's fucking great as Jean Grey.
She's had a lot of work done. She looks strange these days. She's one of those.
Because she did not need to have work done.
Yeah,
no, she didn't.
On the look.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Dutch, and I think
that's a great idea.
7 out of 10 Van Helsings now.
But no, I'm satisfied with what we got. I was just like, man, that could have just raised the stakes for Wolverine's character if that would have been Jean Grey as the main villain. And but that's Monday morning quarterbacking. I mean, but I was thinking it in the theater because I knew who Cassandra Nova was. The character was introduced, I think, somewhere probably about 20 years ago. She's been in the comics, and it was a good choice. I mean, visually, she kind of almost reminds me of Tilda Swinton.
She looks like the ancient one a little bit.
Yeah, my wife said that.
I'm like,
yeah.
I was, but what we got was good. I was just thinking, man, that would have been so cool if that was Jean Grey. Like what you could have messed with Wolverine's head over with that.
Yeah, it would have been.
I do think he needed something new to help that movie. It wasn't just constant nostalgia, but it almost fits now that you mention it, it almost fits too perfect to not do. So, I have mixed feelings about it, but that's a great thought.
Yeah, I agree. So, they get back to the timeline they need to get to. She ends up following them into the timeline.
They have to kill the MacGuffin machine, which Ryan Reynolds refers to as the MacGuffin machine.
Yeah, they have to defeat the MacGuffin machine, exactly. A bunch of Deadpools also show up. There's a huge fight between Deadpool and Wolverine and all these different Deadpool variants.
Well, hang on. You can't go past the moment.
The mask.
Oh,
yeah.
Wolverine gets his mask finally for the first time. What did you think of it? Other than the cool factor that he was wearing the mask.
Brian and I talked about this afterwards. We love that he put the mask on. We both thought the mask looked stupid.
It looks so goofy.
Hell no! Come on.
During the fight scene, the mask looked great. When he's talking to
when he's just standing there in it.
Yeah, and he's talking. It looks like he's looking somewhere else.
I have to agree with Zack Snyder.
Is it what?
Because they did the white with his mask on.
Yeah, I think maybe it would have worked better without the white eyes.
I think if it was his eyes, it would have worked.
Again, these characters are supposed to keep their fucking masks on.
I know. Well, you know what's funny? I think any of these superhero movies, especially the Marvel ones, of all of the characters, Deadpool keeps his mask on by far.
The most.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's because it's easier to keep the mask on him than it is to put all that makeup on him. Well, if it was Ryan Reynolds' face underneath that mask, believe me, he'd take his mask off every time he had dialogue. The mask.
And let's be honest, we really don't know how often he's actually in the suit.
Yeah.
The one that bothers me is Spider-Man, who in the comics, number one, it's like the most iconic mask in all of comics.
Yeah.
And then number two, like they have to engineer ways to take the mask off, which you don't need. You know what I mean? The fact that he pops it off in Endgame in front of an army of people, or two armies, is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And like, we just need to see a look of wonder on Tom Holland's face. No, we don't.
Yeah. No, you paid all that money to Tom Holland, you're going to look at his face.
Yeah, exactly. But now that they can make the masks themselves emote, there's no purpose to it.
Well, that's what I said to you about the Deadpool mask. You can get his facial expressions through the mask in a way that is crazy. Like when that scene where Blade, where he's like, "There's only ever been one Blade. There only ever will be one Blade," and he just looks at the camera and he's wearing the Deadpool mask, and you 100% know what the expression on his face is from just the way he turns to the camera. It was so fucking funny. Like
it helps with Deadpool. You know, that scene aside, it helps with Deadpool because he's usually giving you a narrative while he's while his face is making the different changes. So that comes across. Spider-Man's not quite the same thing, although it could be.
They started
They can animate his eyes.
Yeah. In Homecoming, they started giving him the I guess in Civil War he had it first. But I love that they do that. It's like, and the thing is, like with Spider-Man, they try to justify it as being with Stark Tech. I just love the fact that Deadpool somehow his goddamn eyes react in his mask, and you don't even question it because it's just so awesome.
You don't need to. It's so dumb.
No, it's like this whole standard that Fox sort of set out with, where they were like, okay, we don't want to put the X-Men in their costumes, we're going to put them in black leather and stuff. And it's like, we've dealt with this for years where they're like, well, you can do that in a comic book, but you can't do it in a movie. Bull fucking shit. You can do anything in a movie with a sure hand and a good director and a good vision. You can do anything.
And a fucking great costume designer.
Damn right.
So he wears his mask.
It's fantastic. It's simple, but it's fantastic.
Yeah,
he puts it on all dramatically,
and I loved it. The kid in me who grew up loving the yellow and blue, that's what I've been waiting for, and I loved it. I didn't think.
Yeah, I liked that he wore the mask, but I mean, especially at the point where he was only wearing the mask and no shirt, it was really.
That was funny.
Yes, that added to
it. Everything blasts off except for his mask. But like we need that glory shot of now. Okay, so here's the question. Because I don't think Hugh Jackman would fake it, but were those abs CGI, or do you think Hugh really just went all out?
I think that's why they did it, because he goes so balls to the wall.
But he had the costume on for most of the movie, so like people were questioning, did he do like his real Wolverine prep?
He is ridiculously jacked. Yeah. I mean, there are scenes where he's not even doing anything, and I'm just like, his fucking arms are so goddamn big. It is ridiculous.
His name is Hugh Jackman.
He is a jacked man, because
he's jacked, man.
Yeah, he is.
Deadpool in that slow motion thing, checking out his abs, was one of the funniest things in the world. Just leaning into frame so he can look at the abs.
And that's another thing. He's wearing the mask.
Yeah.
But you know exactly what he's looking at, and you know exactly what he's thinking, you know exactly what his facial expression is, under the mask.
That was also funny when he came up on Cavill from behind. He's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's the complete fucking package." He's like checking out his muscles.
Yeah.
Oh, God, dude, it was the best.
Did you know it was Cavill before he turned around? I had no idea.
Nope, I had no clue.
I'm sure Chris Jones knew. Chris Jones does not care about spoilers one day.
I avoided them, and I was successful, thankfully. That's why I was like, I got to get there on Thursday night. But no, nobody ruined that for me.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know Blade was going to be in it?
No, I did not. I didn't know Blade
was going to be in it. Okay.
I did. I went in. The only thing that led me to believe that was Henry Cavill was the fact that there was a rumor he was going to be in it. And then when I saw that shoulder and that arm, I was like, "That's Henry Cavill."
I knew that. I read the rumor months ago, and it just completely skipped my mind that it was him. So
I read the rumor in the context of he might be the new Wolverine, but that's what
I remember. But like everybody, people make shit up all the time, so it's like
right. And they also cast Henry Cavill in every possible male role there is.
True. Yeah.
So
I heard he was going to play Dr. Doom.
Dude, that would have been a great choice for Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is supposed to be like Doctor. I don't know.
He's supposed to be super handsome. I wouldn't have hated that choice.
Cool. Yeah.
No, what DC needs to do now is cast Cavill as Darkseid.
Oh, can you imagine? That'd be ballsy.
I don't think I'm not sure Henry would ever want to go back to them.
Yeah,
probably not.
Even with the new regime.
Yeah. Right with the
so
Rock.
we get a big ass fight on the street between a bunch of Deadpool variants. One of whom is played by Matthew McConaughey. One of whom is played by Blake Lively.
Yep.
One of whom is a head that flies around, who's voiced by Nathan Fillion.
That's awesome.
One of them is
Welsh, like his soccer team.
Yes. One of them is played by Tom Holland's brother. There's a whole bunch of just.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Blake Lively was the voice of Lady Deadpool.
Yeah, I think it might have been her in the suit too. Who knows?
Yeah,
probably not. But
I think it was just her voice, from what I read. I could be wrong.
You also got a really funny joke with Nice Pool, where Deadpool uses him as a body shield, not realizing that he doesn't have that he doesn't regenerate,
and then assumes all the rest of them can't fucking.
Yeah. But my favorite gag in that whole sequence was when he tells him he's going to bring him over to the ice cream cart because they have first aid over there. And he drags him to the ice cream cart to the point where his head gets completely blown off. And if you see in the back, and it's never pointed out, but if you see in the back behind Deadpool as he's dragging him, there's a complete medical supply shop and EMS.
Brian pointed that out to me in the theater. It's like a pharmacy and also emergency medical.
I totally missed that.
Funny,
I totally missed that.
There's like a medical supply shop right next to the ice cream stand.
Well, it's right next to the Leafield's feet show. Yeah.
So I thought that was one of my favorite gags in the whole movie. I was like, dude, that is so fucking funny.
But then he uses the dog as a shield, and none of the Deadpool shoot. He uses the ugly. He's just carrying it, or is Wolverine carrying it? Wolverine's carrying it.
Yeah, I think Wolverine's the one carrying him. Yeah. So they get inside. They're told basically you can destroy the MacGuffin, but it'll also destroy you if you basically need to create a circuit between the two ends of the machine. By grabbing the wires. Deadpool and Wolverine, Wolverine is going to sacrifice himself because he's his arc is completed, much like Logan. It's basically the same arc as Logan, really, if you think about it. Besides, he's going to sacrifice himself.
That was an emotional moment.
There were a lot. He had 3 or 4 legit emotional scenes in that movie.
That scene basically reminded me of the end of Armageddon when Bruce Willis takes Ben Affleck's place.
So Logan, Deadpool tricks Logan and ends up running in and locking the door behind him and grabbing the wire. He can't grab the other wire, and then at the last minute, Wolverine busts in, grabs Deadpool's hand, and then grabs the other side of the machine and all of his clothes except for his mask and his pants get ripped off. And it's obviously it's led to believe nobody can survive. They were told nobody can survive, and lo and behold, you said one person couldn't survive, but 2 people together could survive.
In a very Guardians of the Galaxy kind of way.
Very Guardians of the Galaxy, the power of friendship has overcome the day.
Yes.
Basically,
turn off the science in your brain.
It looked to me like when the TVA agent was there with showing the timeline, it looked like all of the branch timelines were condensing onto one main timeline. And she did say something like, you're going to have your hands full going forward. So did it bring everybody into one timeline, or is Deadpool and Wolverine just in their own, still in that Fox timeline? I wonder. I don't know. It's not really answered.
Yeah, does the end of Loki have anything to do with it? Did Loki combine? Because I forget.
Loki at the end is holding all of the timelines together.
Right.
The machine that did it got destroyed.
But was he weaving them into one? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just done with timelines, honestly.
So then there you go. So that's it right there. The Avengers have to recognize Victor Von Doom as Tony Stark, but he's not Tony Stark.
Yeah. So
the whole thing is he has to keep that mask on, and that way there won't even be a part of the story.
To me,
and nobody's gonna be like, wait a second, he sounds a little bit like
To me, this
he's
movie
awful glib for Victor Von Doom.
This was a good movie. It was a good superhero movie. I don't know if it was necessarily a good Marvel superhero movie, like in the Marvel universe. I think it did a nice job of kind of tying up all the Fox.
It's a great last Fox movie, is what it is.
Yeah, and I think that maybe is what it will end up.
And that mid credits with the Green Day song was pretty touching.
Yeah, so in the credits, that was cool. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Yeah, so you get like a couple minutes into the credits, it cuts to it goes into the Green Day Good Riddance Time of Your Life song, and it's just a bunch of bloopers and outtakes and behind the scenes stuff from a lot of the
I think they showed every Fox.
almost. Yeah, it might have been all. I mean, even like the terrible Fantastic Four movie was shown, and stuff like that. It didn't show Ghost Rider, but is Ghost Rider a Fox movie? I don't think it had any clips from Ghost Rider.
I think was
the first one.
What?
The
Both
Nick
of them,
Cage
right?
Ghost Rider. Yeah, I don't know if those were Fox movies or not, but I mean, it showed. It had scenes.
He
from
would have been a
Fantastic
great
Four.
cameo. A Fox, Nick Cage
Yeah,
Ghost Rider should have been in
Yeah,
this.
that would have been a cool one too. But yeah, so it had a bunch of stuff from all the different X-Men movies, the new ones, the old ones. It had the Fantastic Four, the two decent ones and the one terrible one.
Yeah.
Was shown in there. It had stuff from the different Wolverine movies, so it was pretty cool.
Footage of the young Hugh Jackman laughing in costume, just hits you hard. You're like, oh shit, we've been watching him do this for a long time,
forever,
20 years.
Yeah.
So I just real quick, I just double checked because I thought that Ghost Rider was Sony, and it was.
Okay, so that's not a Fox.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that makes sense why that wasn't in there then. Yeah. But so I think it wrapped everything up good. I don't know if it's, look, it's making a fucking ton of money. I don't know if that in any way, shape, or form says that people are ready or back on board with Marvel movies. I think Captain America, New World Order, or Brave New World. It used to be called New World.
That'll be the litmus test because that's coming out in February.
Yes, that's the one that's going to determine if people are back on board with Marvel. Because if that movie does good, I think then we're good going forward. I think Fantastic Four was probably going to do good almost no matter what, kind of like this movie.
And that's I don't think the new Captain America is a strong enough character to be a blockbuster.
Be a huge blockbuster. It's a February release though, so it's not like there's probably going to be much else.
It's going to do good because it's February.
Yeah,
and there's nothing else in the theaters, Yeah,
that's what I mean. There's nothing else probably that.
And the Marvel movies have sort of like those. Typically, in the past, you rarely had giant successful movies in January or February, and the Marvel universe kind of trashed that. It's like we can put our movies out any time of year, and they would normally always do well, no matter what. At least in the Infinity Saga kind of era.
Well, with the state of movies the way they are, just what you had said about what Cinemark is doing is actually genius. You know what I mean? Because
it's just the one night off of
a re-release of one of those movies is going to do better than whatever third-rate movie they have in the theater that day.
Right.
They'll probably they'll probably sell out those movies.
They'll make more money whether they sell out or not. They'll make more money than that theater's normal fare for that week. Yeah, probably. So that's pretty smart.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll see. This is the only Marvel superhero movie this year. So, which I think is also smart that they did that.
Yeah,
so
take a break.
Now they gave us this in July, and now there's nothing till February. So
so it's going to have people clamoring what's next.
I'm saying it's pretty much. What else? It's pretty much the only superhero movie this year.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the year of pretty much no superhero movies, honestly.
Yeah. And it's honestly a good thing because they're pulling back from the fatigue of it all.
I mean, they had to because
am I missing anything? Did anything come out earlier in the year?
I don't think so. I don't think I don't think there was anything else. So
I think
When did Captain Marvel come out?
The Marvels was November, wasn't it?
Okay.
Last year?
Yeah, it was a year ago. It was because it was we saw it right before Thanksgiving. We all went and saw it. So I think it was sometime in November.
Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
Hey Quinn, do you get the vibe from the Captain America film that it has the vibe of Winter Soldier at all?
Yeah, I mean that's what we were saying.
It has a political thriller type vibe to it, sure. But the Winter Soldier also had Nick Fury and 2 Avengers in it.
Yeah.
And it was a Russo brother film.
Yeah.
So this one,
it was the Russo brothers' first film though, so that they weren't really a proven commodity just yet.
No, but the quality of it was there.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
So just word of mouth, you'd be like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!"
Right.
And it was also one of the, I think it was the either the second or third post Avengers movie. So you got to see the character, kind of the fallout from the Avengers, which was such a huge hit at the time.
Yeah.
So it had good lead-ins to that. So this one doesn't have any of that. This one's at a low point already. Doesn't have the star power, doesn't have the Russos, does have Harrison Ford. When I say star power, I meant character power. Do we care about Sam Wilson's Falcon? I like him. I don't know that I care about him. It looks like an extension of the TV show to me, and I don't know how well the TV show did.
Yeah.
Or how popular.
I enjoyed the TV show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So did I.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it too. I think it.
My favorite part of it was Zemo. It wasn't really Sam.
Zemo,
you know,
yeah,
it was Zemo and Bucky, not really Sam. And Sam's a cool character. I like that in the show they leaned into his
life.
Well, like his old job where he was counseling traumatized soldiers, and they lean into that, which is great. So I hope that we get at least some of that, because I think it fleshes him out as a character. But are people that aren't super fans going to run out and see this movie?
Yeah.
If they just see a glimpse of a Red Hulk that they know nothing about on the trailer, I don't know.
We'll have to
find out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Unless anybody has any final thoughts on Deadpool.
No, sir. I think you nailed it. I'm glad you brought up the post-credit scene, because I had actually forgotten about that. And what Deadpool's already has shown, it's best when it has a little bit of heart to it.
It can't all just be,
Yeah, so I really liked that send-off.
There was the the actual post-credit scene when we find out that the Human Torch did in fact say all that
stuff. Yeah, which is pretty funny. In his Boston accent.
Yeah, seeing Chris Evans in his Boston accent.
Yeah, it was
saying
funny.
those words.
Yeah, it was
pretty great.
All right. Well, we did
and Deadpool egging him on, like, oh, tell me more. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
If you look at Wolverine's face during that, it's really funny because he looks pretty amused the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually looks like he's trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
Trying not to break character laugh, you know?
Right.
I mean? Like, yeah. All right. Well,
can't wait to see it again.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everyone for giving us 5 stars. Thanks everyone for telling your friends to listen. If you want to send us an email, it's thegenxlounge@gmail.com. You can find me on YouTube at Safubi Sit Down, and you can find Bolo.
You can find me at Bolo Jones on Facebook. You can find me at Bolo I Am on Instagram, as well as Meet Me Halfway Fitness on Instagram.
How about you, Dutch? You want to be found?
Found. I can't hide. No, I'm around. All my social media handles are my name, John DeSantis. That's DESENTIS, not DeSantis, like that jack wagon in Florida. It is not. I am not that guy, even though I've been tagged on Twitter twice by somebody who was trying to curse him out.
And Quinn, I know.
Shit. Yeah, leave me alone.
All right. On that note, everybody, thanks for listening, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye 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 bye.